Episode 355, Salvation. Countless spots of light slowly converged over Alex. Everyone's eyes were attracted to him, but they couldn't process what they were seeing. It was very rare that Cautious looked surprised, but he stared in wonder too. Each spot of light was soft and bright, floating and shining like fireflies. Even Alex was shocked. Then he remembered the phoenix. That's where all the light was coming from. The white jade stone shone bright like the moon. The light spots drew together, and the people watched as they formed a huge figure. There was a tail, feathers, and a beak. The lights had formed phoenix. The phoenix, with its head held high, walked slowly across the altar. Every step seemed to shake the earth. Everyone was stunned, but then, as if hit by an epiphany, they fell to their knees and held their hands to the sky. The gods! Our God has appeared, they murmured. Gods, please show us your power. On the sacrificial ground, all the members of the group knelt solemnly. The phoenix shook its head and ruffled its feathers. It was majestic. It nodded to the believers, then wrapped itself and Debbie in the fire before releasing her from her chains and gently resting her on its back. Debbie didn't expect such an ending, and neither did the other followers. Alex's eyes were teary, and Cassius was stunned. Cassius had thought that sacrificing a saint to heaven would bring joy to the gods, and yet that was not what had happened. His face became dark and purple with confusion and fear. It seemed that offering Devi was as a sacrifice had not been what the deity wanted. God, I am guilty. Please punish me. He knelt, his palms facing upward, and accepted the miraculous event with reverence and respect. Under the moonlight, the phoenix carried a happy and confused Debbie around the altar. She felt like she was dreaming. Slowly, very slowly, the phoenix lowered its head and the light spots dissipated. Debbie was put down. She touched the head of the phoenix affectionately and nestled beside it until it disappeared completely. The whole area was silent, the dark crowd still kneeling. No one wanted to get up. The phoenix revelation could not have been clearer. It had wanted the saint to live in this world. It had saved Debbie from the fire while its followers had done nothing but blindly follow their leader. For the first time in his life, Cassius felt like he had committed a great sin. But rather than blaming or punishing him, the phoenix had ignored him. A feeling of injustice spread through the Black Orchid group. The members were angry and condemned their leader from where they still knelt. On the ground, it was Cassius who had insulted the saint and her noble lover, behavior of which the gods did not approve. But just as the believers were beginning to feel it was time to completely abandon Cassius, he slowly crawled to kneel in front of Debbie, his head hanging low with guilt. Holy daughter, please allow me to name you the new leader of the Black Orchids. You have been selected by the gods themselves. Please allow us to recommend you as the new leader. You were chosen. The believers cheered in agreement. Debbie had no idea what to do. All she cared about at the moment was Alex. He was still crouched, low to the ground, nursing his injuries. Please rest assured that we will cure your distinguished guest. Cassius waved his hand and a servant came with a stretcher to carry Alex away. Alex waved at her weakly. What am I supposed to do? Don't leave. She stomped her foot in frustration. Alex smiled. Debbie, do you have any other choice now? She stood dazed as she watched him being carried away. She couldn't do this. If the chosen one does not promise to be our leader, the gods will impose their most severe punishment. We'll all be exiled from this place. Cassius looked up at her, his eyes bulging. He was not being pretentious or threatening as he said this. He had every intention of leaving the group at her word. Holy daughter, please have pity on our ignorant disciples. A sound like an earthquake rumbled through the square, and all the people mumbled their agreement with Cassius' words. The gods' rules were not be broken. All the members could do was be humble and hope that the saint would accept them, even though they had nothing to offer. If Debbie did not forgive them and chose to exile them instead, no one would argue or disobey her orders. Under the moonlight, they begged Debbie to save them. They cried that they would be loyal to her and she could trust them and their words. The leader of the Black Orchid group had a responsibility to the members. Debbie was duty-bound to fulfill his role. Alex was right. She didn't have any other choice. She took a deep breath and then stepped forward. Get up. Everyone get up. I will be your leader. You are all forgiven. Her soft voice echoed through the square. Thank you all. God's grace. Thank you, my lady. The square was filled with cheers. Cassius was the first to stand up, and all the members followed his examples. Waiting for Debbie to continue, tears streamed down his face. It was so exciting and heartening to have a leader who obeyed the will of the gods and had saved all of their lives. After spending a month in the Black Orchid Temple, Debbie had regained her health and strength. She was sitting on the highest throne of the temple in a broad chair made of gold and silver, listening to Cassius' report. He was dressed in black and stood up respectfully. Lady Clifton, I understand you must leave us. You should take 500 disciples with you for protection. Debbie's face was solemn. She wore the traditional dress of a noblewoman and a crown with a symbol of a deity. Alex sat beside her, quiet and serious, wearing the clothes of a diplomat. These were the rituals of the Black Orchid cult, and the costumes they were expected to respect. Alex and Debbie had been taught by the leaders how to fulfill these roles. Debbie listened to Cassius' requests, keeping her expression blank so as not to betray her thoughts or feelings. She looked at Alex quietly, and she shook his head. She understood immediately and said in an irrefutable tone, "Tell the disciples that is unnecessary. If I have any instructions, I will send someone to convey them to you." "Yes, my lady." Cassius stepped back and did not dare to say more. She raised her voice so everyone present could hear her. "When I leave, the black orchids can kill whenever they wish. Everything should be done according to the law. The black orchid religion needs to be reformed. These reformations will be controlled by Cassius." "Thank you for your generosity, my lady. Thank you for your trust and leadership." Cassius put his right hand on his chest, tears glistening in his eyes. He had never cried before, but since the arrival of their new leader, his cold, hard heart had begun to soften.